This is George Dionne with Metal Express Radio, and I'm here with Ronnie Romero of the band Sunstorm. How you doing today, Ronnie?
Hey, George. How are you?
Good, good. If I knew absolutely nothing about Sunstorm, how would you describe the band's music to me?
It's I can tell you about the new album. It's a mix between the melodic music, AOR elements, and the classic rock. So you can listen a lot of. It's a mix between Journey and Rainbow. Weird as it sounds, but it's like this.
So you're like a heavy metal guy normally with Vandenberg and Lords of Black and stuff like that. This is kind of a new direction for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I took it as a challenge, sometimes singers, we always try to prove ourselves that we can do something different from our, come out of the comfort zone. I know that people know me as a heavy metal singer, so I really want to try this. And actually, because I'm a huge fan of the AOR music and the melodic music, with my father, since I was a kid, we used to listen a lot of bands like Boston, Kansas, even Journey, that kind of things, and suddenly you had the chance to try to make this kind of music. So yeah, I was really up to it.
So producer Alessandro Del Vecchio wrote the album. Did you have any input on, or any, could you make any alterations into how the songs were presented to you?
Absolutely. I mean, he wrote great music, but anyway, when you go to the studio, you have the chance and the freedom to when you're recording and you're putting your performance on the songs, sometimes you need to change some things because your accent or because your performance there is some words that doesn't work with the phrasing or the vocal line or something. So yeah, I was just doing my stuff on the studio, and then everything was approved by Alessandro because it was really easy, actually.
I hear that he's very easy to work
great
with
on this album. So the song flows really cool on the studio, and it was what's really easy to get the idea of the songs.
Okay, so speaking of the idea of the songs, let's talk a little bit about a couple of the songs you've released so far. Let's talk about kind of the thoughts behind the song Afterlife.
Yeah, Alessandro wrote these songs to try to put an idea on the times we're living nowadays, where everything is like, we are all connected, but we are not, we are not actually together. And it's funny because actually I had a story with Blackmore. One day he was telling me, we were in the rehearsal room, and he told me like, we are all in the same room, but you are with your smartphones, just watching a little screen and talking to each other on the screen, but you're not talking eye to eye. It's he didn't understand this because obviously he doesn't have any smartphone. So yeah, Alessandro was trying to put this idea that everything is so cold nowadays on the relationships. And then they brought this with Simone, the guitar player. They brought this killer riff at the beginning, and then he put this Hammond. So you can listen to this melodic music, but with this deep purple rainbow touch on the Hammonds. And then my vocal performance is a little bit like Dio. So as I told you before, you can listen to this melodic music, but with the classic hard rock elements. So yeah, it's one of my favorites, and that's actually because it's the name of the album and one of the singles.
The second single is Swan Song. If you want to talk a little bit about that song.
Swan Song, yeah, that's actually my favorite song. That was the first song that I recorded, and from the beginning I was thinking on the idea that you always have this element that bring you back to the hope when you are going through problems or to hard times, So from the beginning, when I recorded the song, I was thinking of my fiance for the video clip because she was a kind of, she came to me in a certain point of my life when I was going through hard times in my personal life. So she was like my swan song, So that's why she's on the video clip. And I think it's a great song. It's the same thing, it's a very melodic. it goes on the chorus is like very majestic, and you have those Hammonds and the guitar and the music, the musicianship. It's amazing on this record. All the guys, they did great, and it's super. So yeah, it's one, probably is my favorite song.
I think the songs that follow Swan Song are probably the strongest and capture that sound that you're looking for, that 80s AOR. Born Again, Stronger, I Found a Way. It's like bam, bam, bam. I'm like, that's the perfect 80s AOR right there.
Yeah, and actually, there is the most important thing to me in this record. There is no fillers. Every song counts a different story. Every song count on the track list. It's nothing like it. You say, this song is not that good that the previous or the other one. Everything is put in the right side, and the track list completely, all the albums, I think is awesome.
So you're not the first singer for Sunstorm.
Yeah.
That was Joe Lynn Turner.
Yep.
Why was it important to everyone involved to keep the Sunstorm name recording this album?
Well, that's a question for the record label. I don't know. I think obviously Sunstorm as an entity is a strong name actually on the market. And I think in a way we try to keep this vibe from the melodic music that they were doing at the beginning on the first records. So to me, if you ask me, there was no any reason to change the name. It's like Joe, he doesn't want to be involved anymore, and they just changed the singer. What happened if Iron Maiden, they changed the name because of the singer? That would be weird.
All right, we can't compare Iron Maiden to Sunstorm, but we could compare Accept to Sunstorm, and I think that when they replaced Udo with David Reese back in the 90s, I think it would have been a lot different for them if they had changed the name.
Yeah.
I think it would have worked, but in that respect, some fans on social media kind of beating the label up. They're beating you up, and I'm sure they haven't even listened to the album, because if they did, they'd know it's a great album. I think that social media wise, you can't always trust the people's opinions there. But were you guys kind of expecting that little bit of backlash when this was announced that it'd be a new version?
Actually, I mean, my personal opinion, you don't need to expect anything. I just got the call from the record label to sing the songs, and when I got the songs, I was, this is really great. I really want to sing this album, and that's it. Obviously, I can understand the people. I mean, to me as a fan, because I have a fan vision too. I'm a huge fan of Rainbow. So I understand that people want to say, this is not Ronnie James Dio. Obviously, I'm not Ronnie James Dio, and I'm not pretend to be Ronnie James Dio. So I can understand when the people get a little bit frustrating with this kind of changes, or because they were expecting Joe Lynn Turner or whatever. Joe Lynn Turner is one of my favorite singers anyway. So I'm a huge fan of Sunstorm from the beginning, before I got involved. So. And it's funny because actually it's funny how everything happens, because when I got the call from Frontiers to record this album, there was a time when we were with my fiance, we were listening Sunstorm every day, and actually one day she told me like, that would be great if you sing this kind of music instead heavy metal,
Right.
So, and everything happens. So I can understand that people are gonna criticize. It's really easy to write something in your couch with the laptop, with the phone, with the smartphone. You can do it. Musicians, we need to accept that people gonna like it or people they don't gonna like it. That's it. You are selling something. So at the end, you like Coca-Cola or you're not, or you prefer Pepsi. It's the same thing. People gonna like it or not. That's it. You just be happy doing the music. If the people like it and support it, super cool. There's people that not. That's okay.
I think it's funny that people that have access to pretty much free music still complain.
Exactly.
You get free music, or you stream it for $9.99, anything you want in the world, and
Yeah.
you're complaining.
It's, I mean, it's the way it is. That's it.
Well, you got a strong album here. I think personally, I'm a Joe Lynn Turner fan and a Sunstorm fan, but I thought the last few albums weren't that great. I feel like he was just going through the motions on that, and you're kind of breathing new life into this. You've definitely made it worth getting into again, I think.
I think it worth the listen to the record, and then you can have an opinion about it. So I really call the people just to listen the album out of these elements. Not that there is no Joe Lynn Turner in the record. Just listen to music, and if you like it, that's super cool. You can listen. I mean, actually, you listen music when you are doing something at your home, or when you're doing homework, or when you're doing running outside, or when you're in the car. It's not that important. So just listen to music and enjoy. And if you don't like it, you can skip. You have
That's
the
right.
option to skip and listen to something else.
Exactly. So you're mainly a touring guy, so these lockdowns got to be tearing you up.
Yeah, absolutely. To all musicians, but actually, I'm even more worried about not just the musicians. I guess at the end, musicians, we're still doing it in a way because we had the chance to go to the studio to record things. We're still getting our little royalties from the sales or whatever. But there is a lot of people in the industry involved that they are not getting anything. Like I was talking just today with a Rainbow sound engineer. And they're not doing anything, They're not
Right.
getting nothing about this. They obviously they kind of go to the studio to record and to make music. So I think they are suffering more than musicians, and that's really hard. So I really want to say that and to give all my support to all that people involved in the musical industry, live musical industry, like the crews, the people from the venues, even the promoters and all kind of guys. But yeah, it's hard times, hard times, but not just for the musicians, for everybody.
Are you going to try to sneak in some tour dates in the countries that are easing up this year?
Yeah, actually, I'm doing it now with the project here from Bulgaria. So we have the chance to make some shows, small shows, like for, 7,000 venue capacity for 500 people.
Right. Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting, but it's the only way. At least we can bring some live music and entertainment to the people. That I think the people they really want to go back to the shows more than the musician, I think.
Right.
So at least we can do something smaller. We are doing online shows, so the people at least they can go and have some entertainment and get out of the all these hard times we're living with the COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though Sunstorm is your latest project with Frontiers, you have a couple other things that you've done with Frontiers. You released the Lords of the Black album, Alchemy of Souls, Part 1. Are you working on Part 2 at all?
Actually, the Part 2 is recorded already.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
We just recorded the second part because actually we did the concept of the Alchemy of Souls together. And we just realized we needed to split in 2 albums, because it was too much.
Right.
So actually, the album is recorded, and then Frontiers is gonna decide when to release it. And then in a couple of weeks, I'm gonna start to record the 3rd album of the Ferryman.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So when does the Ronnie Romero solo album come out?
Oh no, that's not going to happen. So no. I think there is a point in your career when you need it, to make something different because you are tired of to make the same music with your band, like Bruce Dickinson he did, or like Freddie Mercury did with, obviously with some industry pressure to make something like a solo. But it's not my case because actually I'm doing a lot of different things all the time. So I don't feel the need to do something else, to add something to that everything I'm doing now. So it make no sense.
Are you still working with Vandenberg?
Everything stops, because of the COVID.
Yeah.
But like with everybody, we were just waiting to the things to change and to have the chance to, back to the normality and try to put some shows together.
Awesome. That's all I got for you today, Ronnie.
Ronnie. I
appreciate
appreciate
you taking the time.
My pleasure.